We are back with Denise Hilliman. Denise, what do you hope people come away with after they get exposed to the organization leads?
What people will come away with is how simple it is to find significance, to live a life that is filled with meaning, and to leave a legacy. So once you engage with the LEAD program, whether you are an employee, whether you're a student, you will realize that the one thing that connects the human race, and that is we all want to feel that we belong to someone, we all want to feel a sense of belonging, we all want to feel value, we all want to feel good, and you will discover that when you engage in the program, that all you need to do to find that is to selflessly serve.
And so, how do you get across to your students that listening is critical to their development?
How do I get across to students that listening is critical to their development? Ask me that question in another way.
All right. Um, how do you how do you help children to students to understand that listening is fundamental to their development?
Well, I think
Or
it.
rather, why is listening important?
Well, I think it's showing them and not just telling them that it's important. So you show them by helping them to think about how it feels to be ignored. So there's one activity I do with them where I get them to pair up and let one person talk about their dreams and the other person just do everything else other than listen, like play on their phone, shout, sing, make, do anything, anything that you can think of. And then I asked the person who was speaking, how did it feel to be ignored? And that activities like that really help to show them that it's not, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't make you feel good when you're ignored. So that's on the emotional level. On the other level of relationships, if you are not listening, you can't get information. Okay, why do we need to listen? Listening helps us to gather information. Why do we need information? We need information to enable us to make decisions. If you don't have information, you don't make the right decisions, and that can affect your very destiny. So I think the fundamental thing I try to get over through activities and through examples and through getting them to reflect on their own experiences is that listening is fundamental because it's through listening you gather information. One, on that level, but on a relationship level, listening helps to build relationships.
In the chat room, DB asked, "How does teaching in UK compare to Grenada?"
It's very different. In Grenada, you have, um, I don't think you have, there is more freedom in terms of what you do in the school. In the schools, I taught at the Grenada Boys Secondary School. The head teacher there is Mr. Ashby, and he had a lot of flexibility in terms of the type of curriculum he offered and how he managed and led his school. That is not universal across the UK. That depends. The experience you have in a school depends on the type of school you're in here. If you're in an independent school, it's a different experience. If you're in a state school, it's a different experience. If you're in an academy, it's a different experience. So how does it compare? It's The similarity is children are children. The difference is the children's response to teaching is a bit different here than it is in Grenada. And there is more flexibility in Grenada in terms of how you manage your schools.
If you were if you weren't doing what you're doing today, what other career would you like to have tried?
I would have liked to be a psychologist,
Mhm.
yeah, an educational psychologist. And when I think about it, really, it's related to what I'm doing now. Because lead, because my understanding at the time when I wanted to be a psychologist is that the psychologist, we focus on understanding behavior and changing behavior. And I think what's fundamental to what I'm doing now is that I'm trying to create bring about a paradigm shift in the meaning of leadership and how people view leadership.
Mhm. In your
Differently, sorry.
go ahead.
Yeah, so to bring about a paradigm shift
Uh-huh.
in the way people think of leadership.
I understand you would like to take this on the road. I mean, you take this to the Caribbean and introduce this form of teaching to the Caribbean. But in a ballpark, what is your case for the importance of leadership? Let's say several heads of state in the Caribbean ask you, invite you to a table. Said, well, all right, so you would like to come down here. Why should we hire you?
Well, is it Martin Luther King who said, everyone can serve, isn't it? If you think the opposite of that, there is one thing that I said earlier that everyone wants, everyone is looking for. Everybody is looking to feel good. Everyone wants to feel valued. Everyone wants to feel a sense of belonging. That is one fundamental need of the human race.
I didn't hear the last sentence.
Everyone is looking to belong. You want a sense of belonging.
Uh,
You want to belong to somebody, belong to a group. You all want that's a fundamental human need. Now, on the other side, Martin Luther King said, everybody can serve. Now, what I am bringing is that if you teach people how to selflessly serve, they can find that fundamental thing they're looking for, which is self worth, a sense of value, significance, and the sense of, you know, having waking up with a meaningful and purposeful life. So the question is, all the research is showing that there is a leadership skills gap. They're saying young people and the skill sets that we have now, it doesn't match the skill set that we need now, and with the way the world is changing, the technological changes and so on. But I am saying it's simple. There's one thing that connects us all, and that is we all can serve. And serves a mindset where you are selflessly serving leads to what everybody else is looking for, what everybody wants, which is that feeling of significance, the feeling of, being the best that you can be. Now, who doesn't want to have a group of employees who are coming to work and wanting to be the best that they can be, wanting to serve? Who doesn't want that? Young people, they so crave that need to belong that they get into all kinds of things, gangs, all of those things. And I'm saying, look, the answer is simple. Think of leadership in a different way, and then there's no skills gap. Let us all come together, have a collaborative approach to teaching young people leadership, and not only young people, employers and employees who get involved in the act of leading also feel that self-worth, they develop, they feel, they're leaving a legacy in the young people's life, and so on. So it's simple. Let us collaborate. Now, many companies have caught on to this. So I have done work with the BBC, I've done work with IBM, I've done work with Lloyds Bank here, because they're realizing, hang on, this is one way of developing your employees, giving them that sense of value, well-being, sense of worth, but also it's a way of tapping into to your target audience now and who will be your target audience years from now.
Mhm. You're heading for Guyana at some point to introduce an education program. Can you share some of it with us?
Well, my aim is to go down to Guyana on one level to give back. And I would like to do some work around leadership in Guyana. I think I think leadership, good, effective leadership can transform things, can raise standards, and the type of leadership where you starting with the purest form of it, this type of leadership is being the example. And it is the three stages, which is looking at self awareness, self literacy, I'm calling it, looking at social literacy, it's all about relationships, and also having that sense of purpose. So I would like to take that down to Guyana and work with head teachers, work with other senior leaders in education to get them to think to see to look at leadership in a different way.
Mhm.
I would
What?
also love to get the curriculum, the lead curriculum, into schools. I would also like to encourage companies to look at how they can collaborate with the education system to prepare these young people for life.
What is the average age or the age of the average age of a student for your program?
11 to 24.
In the chat room, DB uh, asked, "What do you find most rewarding about teaching?"
So many to choose from. I think the main thing for me is seeing a young person realizing their dreams and their passion.
Mhm.
I think it's most rewarding for me is not only developing and shaping a young person's life, but is helping a young person to realize that they can go to places that they never dreamed or never thought they can get to. And also on the other side of that is taking young people to places that they don't, of course, they said, I don't want to do that, I can never be this. And then convincing them that they can do it and seeing them achieve that.
So, what would you say were some of your early challenges and fears, and how did you overcome them when you first started?
Uh, One of my main challenges is that I had spent, most of my working life in the education sector. And when I stepped out into the private sector or the started this entrepreneurial journey, I felt at first like someone in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, a non-swimmer with no lifeboat in sight. And that's because I it was unfamiliar territory for me. So I didn't have the confidence to speak to businessmen and to speak to go pitching to CEOs of companies. And how did I overcome it? I just joined an organization called Toastmasters. That's one thing I did, which is a public speaking leadership organization. And that helped me with my confidence to be able to speak, to be able to articulate some of my ideas. But I also surrounded myself with people, even though it felt uncomfortable at the time, I surrounded myself with people who are successful in the entrepreneurial world and learn from them really. So that was one of my fears. The other, so it was my confidence to really articulate my ideas and speaking the language of the business. The other challenge I had is people not understanding my vision and not being able to catch it. And that was because I think I always say that it's lonely to be a visionary. So I could see where I want to go, but I couldn't sometimes articulate it in a way to help someone else to understand it. And I realized that was because I was hearing it before I was ready. So a vision, I always say, it's like a baby. There's the conception, and when at conception, that fertilized egg has no shape, no form, or anything, and it takes 9 months for you to see a baby. But I think I was trying to share my vision when it was just 1 month old in the womb.
um, so, do you believe your initiative will empower and encourage young people in Guyana?
Yes, I think it will. I think because I think uh, one of the things I believe my initiative will do is help young people to realize that there is more to life than riches, fame, or just having a 15 subjects. I think what it will help young people to realize that irrespective of who you are, where you live, or what you do, everyone has something to offer. Everyone can be an inspiration. And it would help, I believe, young people to realize that in their very hands, they may have skills that they can use to make a difference in their community. Because, I think what's happening a lot in the Caribbean is that people think, look, the answer is to leave. And I'm saying, people say, who are you to talk? You have left. But, I have left, but I want to share and help young people to discover what I have discovered. And I feel what I have discovered, I will be successful in the Caribbean as well with it.
What drives you, Denise, and where do you draw your inspiration?
I draw my inspiration from uh, the Bible.
From
I
what?
From the Bible.
Uh-huh.
I study the great leaders in the Bible, and
Who's your favorite?
my favorite is Nehemiah
Mm. Any particular reason?
because Nehemiah
Hmm.
paints the picture of the journey of an entrepreneur and the journey of a leader. I think that is a case study of leadership. From
Nehemiah.
the vision to the execution of that vision.
You go to the chat room for a bit. Trevin asked, "Would you return to the Caribbean to teach?"
Yes, but to teach teachers.
Oh. Hmm. Why encourage? Well, that's Carol. Why encourage young people to be leaders?
Why encourage young people to?
To be leaders.
Because, it's not any type of leadership. This type of leadership I'm talking about is the leadership where you are focusing on adding value to others. The starting point is you, but it doesn't end with you.
Hmm.
And if you do that, if your purpose, if you link purpose in your life to serving others, then you get what you are looking for, which is significance, which is self worth, which is leaving a legacy. Really simple recipe
Denise, what still surprises you about you?
that I wake up in the middle of the night sometimes and I have an idea and I jump up and I write it. And that idea, I think, is a simple idea and it turns out to be something transformational. It
Hmm.
still surprises me that I come up with these ideas.
People have a tendency at times to get ideas and then they push it aside, brush it aside, and say, well, nobody's going to believe in this. It doesn't make sense. For the young girl or the young person that is listening to you tonight, what do you say to them about their ideas?
What I would say to them, that in life, there are many different paths people can take. We all take different paths in life. And all of us will have our fair share of locked doors in our faces. You know,
Hmm.
slam the doors, they will rubbish our ideas or ridicule it. But there is one thing you should do: you keep going. And you don't be unkind or be bitter against someone who has ridiculed your idea, because later on, that very person may be the person with the key to unlock doors for you. So that's one thing I would say. If you have an idea, if you believe in it, like the tortoise and the hare, the turtle just kept going. The turtle just kept going. The hare thought, okay, he's big and strong and he can run fast. But what happened? He fell asleep, and that slow tortoise who just kept going won the race. And it's the same way with ideas. You have an idea, if you believe in it, people will ridicule you, they'll slam the door in your face. But failure is and rejection sometimes is just success turned upside down, inside out. That's all it is. So keep going.
When are you most happy?
I am most happy when I see young people succeed. I
So,
am most happy when I see adults recognize that they have something to offer and they can invest in the next generation, and they go away feeling happy about it.
so, what advice would you give young people who want to pursue a career in education?
Start with thinking about why you want to do it.
Hmm.
Start with the why. If you are going to go into it for money, then just stop the journey now. But go in, and if you're going into it because you're thinking, okay, this is I'm going into this profession and I'm going to eventually, get promotion and all of that, don't go into it. But if your why is you going into education because you believe that your skills and your talent and your love for young people will help to make a difference in their lives and add value to their lives, then by all means go into it. So it's ask yourself those deep questions and be honest about the answer. Why are you going into it?
What are you most proud of?
I am most proud of the fact that after over 25 years in education, I took a risk. I took a risk of leaving my job. I was on lots of money a year, and I stepped out away from the wall. And I'm most proud that it's a risk that has paid off.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that. If you could go back in time, Denise, what would you tell the 16-year-old self?
I would say to my 16-year-old self, invest in discovering who you are
Hmm.
very early on. Don't leave it until you are over 40. Randy Crawford said, I've been to Alabama, I've been here, I've been in some schools. And she said, but I've never been to me in that song.
I've
I've never been to me. So, what I would say to my 16-year-old self, before you start traveling the world, getting into relationships, doing all of those things, discover who you are, because that is the lens through which you see the whole world.
finish off this sentence. I look forward to Sunday evenings too.
Relax, spend time chatting with my mom, and getting lost in a good book on leadership.
What are you most thankful for?
I am most thankful for my life because I almost, lost my life 3 times, and I'm thankful that I'm still here. I've hit 50, and I am still healthy, no, diseases or anything. I'm thankful for that. But I'm also thankful for the people around me. I'm thankful for my brothers, Sandy, Ronald, Stratton, Mark. Dwayne, and my only sister who lives in New York, and all their children, my nieces, Chelsea, all of them. I'm just thankful for my family. But and most of all, someone who is really a friend, family, and everything to me. And Charlie and Ross, he's in New Jersey, and to my other uncles and aunts, Kenwick Ross, Marlene Williams, and my lovely cousin Lillian Claxton, who lives in Connecticut.
So, what makes you laugh out loud?
When people try to dig a hole for me and they fall into it.
Denise, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. This is Selwood Collins saying thank you for tuning in. Fear not what fear whispers to you. Fear your obedience to it. Good night.